Hello and welcome back to my walkthrough to Crash Bandicoot 2 here on the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy. In the last episode we got our Platinum Relic on Night Fight, and now I'm going to do post-commentary on Pack Attack, so let's get going. So, Pack Attack. This one is far tougher than Rocket. You need to be very fast throughout, and getting caught on any of the many obstacles is going to be end of run. Now, I consider the run split into two halves. One half that I know really well, and the other half is pretty much panic, please just let me finish. The first half is essentially up to when we get an Aku, and the second half is essentially once we have the Aku to the pit. And yeah, so I know the first half really well. Gonna have some sort of like analysis of some cycles and stuff like that. The second half, I don't know, I didn't think about it. It was like every time I got to the Aku I was just very happy and I just ran and prayed for the best, if I'm honest, but there we go. Okay, so from the start you want to be moving quickly. Obviously you might want to wait for this opening sort of circle of bombs, and you can get hit here, but generally going fast is better just because you want to get going with these runs as fast as possible. And yeah, it just, you know, you just want to be constantly hitting each run quickly each time. The jetpack controls here do not help, but again, it's just a matter of sort of getting used to how early you need to sort of start moving in a direction before you'll actually sort of make significant progress in that direction. But yeah, anyway, so you want to go under these electric wires, and then you move up to hit the first time box, and then we start seeing the first cycle. So the cycles here are all about the lasers, the lasers that form a square. They have 3 default positions, and their cycle is dependent on the first one you see. So if the first laser you see is in the cross formation, you want to stay bottom right through the next section. You'll then go through the electric wires, and then you'll move back to bottom right for the next set of lasers. But if the first laser is bottom right, so the first one you see is bottom right, you then want to go bottom right through the first section, but then for the second set of lasers you actually want to go bottom left instead, because that's far simpler. And finally, if the first laser you see is bottom left, you should move over to the bottom left to avoid both sets of lasers, so you want to stay bottom left through most of this opening section. So, now that you've got through there, we then have the Scientist. So the Scientist is actually a really nice enemy. He's actually a great judge of how fast you're going. If you get hit by him, if you get electrocuted by him, it generally means you're moving too slow. Your run is going too slow at this point. And that might be because you got caught in some scenery, or because you had to wait because you weren't in the right position. But essentially, if you get caught by him, it's fine. It just means that, you know, you were going too slowly. If you manage to hit him and then hit him again to get through, you've got a good run going. And this should be around 15, I think, seconds. So this is, you know, that is your good start. So now, we want, as soon as you kill the Scientist, you want to move up to the top, because there are going to be 2 time boxes that we need to hit as we go over the next obstacle. And then we have the important bit at the end of this cycle, just before the Aku. So if you're in a bottom left or a bottom right cycle, depending on those first lasers, like I mentioned before, you're in luck here, because now what you can do is you can stay bottom left, and you'll go under the wires, under the lasers, and then you can rise up and try and hit that Aku along the way. If you're in a cross cycle, it's much tougher, because the lasers will now block that bottom left route. So you've either got to go bottom right and try and quickly shift across to hit the Aku, or you've got to go top left and try and dodge the wires and then move down to hit the Aku. And both of these maneuvers are much harder to do consistently, and especially because you're only going to be in the cross cycle maybe 1 in 3 runs. So yeah, it's tough. But I always think that they're worth going, just in case you get through. From the Aku, you want to hit this 3 box. It usually requires slowing down ever so slightly, just so you can actually make the sharp turn just to hit that 3. And then, like I say, this next section, I'm pretty much just saying run as fast as you can. Well, in this case, jetpack as fast as you can through the rest of the level. There's not really a lot of in-depth analysis I can give to these sections, unfortunately. But essentially, the key thing is, obviously, you now have the Aku. You don't want to lose the Aku until right at the end. The end section is really hard to get through without losing an Aku, so keep it as best as you can. You want to stay slightly off-center for the double set of the lasers. Essentially, again, obviously, I'm sure the cycle is continuing, but I don't, like I said, I haven't really analysed the cycles here. You want to say, sort of, if you imagine that the lasers are essentially, if between the cross lasers and the side lasers, they're going to form some triangles, the 4 triangles that make up a square, and you essentially want to try and fly through the middle of one of those triangles, because the lasers will never hit you there. But again, this is, you know, not easier said than done, certainly, but you'll sort of get used to it. Also try and stay to the left side, because otherwise the one box here is actually really easy to miss, especially if you're trying to maintain your momentum. So, you then kill the scientist, hoping you catch him on a good cycle, obviously, and then you want to keep low under the circling bombs and the lasers, because then the lasers shouldn't get you. You can hope for the best, but essentially you should just stay under the circling bombs here. You want to rise to the next time box and then stay climbing for the next one, but you don't want to get roasted by the hot pipe. I've been hit by that hot pipe. It's such a pain if you get hit there, because you know, that's loss of an Aku or it's death, and you really don't need it there. So sort of go up, go slightly down, and then go back up to hit that 2 box up there. You then want to stay to the sides of the scientist with the circling bombs. You just need to pray that the bombs don't hit you here. It's hit and miss, I found, whether you want, but generally staying to the side was far more efficient than trying to go straight through the middle, from what I could feel. And then you're going to see this massive cross of nitros as soon as you kill that scientist, so make sure you're in one of these sort of quadrants. It's similar to the lasers, the double set of lasers, because the nitros essentially act as a cross, and then there's a set of lasers behind. So again, you sort of want to aim through one of the triangles that they form, or you can just pray that the lasers won't hit you and just zoom through one of any of the quadrants there, essentially. But once you get through that, you've then just got to stay low through the next section, and then damage boost through the final obstacle. I never really found an efficient way of getting through that obstacle well, so just damage boost through him. That's why you want your Aku. And then just run to the end. Make sure you hit the nitro box, because there is still a time box that will be destroyed by the nitros, so that's also something to remember. And then you just need to run to the finish. It's tight. It's really tight. You need near perfection. Doesn't quite ask you for perfection. I think I still make a slight mistake in my actual run, in my successful run, but it's as close to perfection as a lot of these runs are. It's pretty darn difficult, so good luck. Enjoy the rest of the run here, and yeah, I will see you on the next one where we take on the final of the main levels, I guess, level 25, which is Spaced Out. See you then.
My goodness.